I'm not managing them. He lets them manage themselves. I impart vision. I can't impart vision unless I can speak, unless I know the right people. He says, I need the right people in place because I'm not going to do it. Ray Dalio, same difference.
That is literally me.
Everyone. How do you discern and choose people? Why do you think everyone in your family is for you? You don't know the difference. So you're blinded by blood. That's all it takes. You'll never go to the next level.
Welcome back to another episode of True Wealth Conversations. I'm your host, Dominique Broadway, and we are in Cancun, Mexico at the Planet Hollywood for the Wealth Demystified Retreat.
Come on.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm so excited because, as I told you, I have brung in some of my favorite people and honestly, some of the most instrumental people in my life to come and speak to my students. And one of those people I don't know, grammar my thing, Justin Brimmer.
Right. Well, hello.
So Justin is my business manager and the owner of Unorthodox Incorporated.
Yes, let's
so
go.
Justin, for people...
Right.
Go ahead. He ready, y'all.
I'm in.
He ready. Guns locked and loaded. But for people that don't know you, who are you? Yeah. What do you do? Tell us all about all the accolades and things.
So in essence, I'm energy, right? And I'm the manifestation of that. And I'm a father. I'm a husband. I have 4 children. I think that is the basis of my foundation, right? But on top of that, I think I am a business manager, and that really incorporates many different facets of the financial industry wrapped into one.
Okay.
But I think more than that, I think I manage the person and I manage their time, right? And because that's important is that most of my clients have already reached a point in their lives where they're great. They have overcome the challenges, right? So I've slept in my car long enough and now I'm an actor. I've struggled and lived in my mom's basement long enough and now I'm a screenwriter. So a lot of my clients are entertainers, but they're also business owners and media digital folks.
Okay. We'll talk about when I came to you and how I needed a business manager. But what is a business manager and why do people need them?
I think that's a great question, but I think it's more of who are they at first, right? When you know yourself, you got to determine exactly what advisor is going to move the needle to excellence, right? One of the things that I believe, because everything's not everything. What that means is not every person is a sheep. Some of them are wolves in sheep clothing. Right? What I mean by that is this, is that not every business manager is great. Not every financial advisor is great. Just because I have one doesn't make me better, right? There's a lot of business managers that have done some shady things, right?
Yeah.
So what I recommend is, who are you? What that means is just like you. You're a finance guru, but yet you know what you don't know. So the business manager fills in the gap and manages your team around you. Anytime there's a dollar moved, or a dollar added, or a dollar about to be given, that business manager should be there to filter and determine how it's received, when it's received, in the most tax efficient way.
Okay.
But I think beyond that, it is the person that becomes the problem. It is the person who has the gift, right? So business management is more than your money's making money. Is that, how do you feel? What's the vices? What happens when depression hits? What happens if setbacks or the wrong feedback came? Like that can unravel all your finances in a blink of an eye. So the business manager, an active one, keeps you from yourself, from making reckless decisions, because most of the time, most of my clients have become millionaires for the first time.
Yep.
Right? So I was poor. I put myself up by my boots. I struggled. I sacrificed everything. But yet I'm still poor in my mind. Yet there's this thing that happens, right? Wealth has many levels. The first thing you do is you convert your time for dollars, right? So there's a limit to how much we do that, right? I only have 24 hours. How long do I need to work before I get tired, right? That is a conversion. The second step is a conversion or transmutation of value in dollars. So this is not tied to my time. I don't have to spend 10 hours. I have value. There's another level above this that most people don't know. You get paid for who you are. Now, mind you, I'm poor. I've been working every day. I've been working 40 hours, 60 hours. I have been accustomed to, when I give hours, I get money.
In exchange.
My parents give hours, they get money. They get promotion, so mind you, this is an 18-year, depending on who your parents are, an 18-year ingraining, a brainwashing process that happens. Mm-hmm. Now, we then move to value.
Okay.
You feel a little weird because it's like, I did this in the same amount of time, less, but I got 10 times more money, right? But this is where the problem is for most of my clients and most people. You then move to a level of getting paid for who you are. Mm-hmm. Now, who you are, you show up, you got paid $150,000. Mm-hmm. Now, you didn't have to work 150,000 hours. You didn't have to work and get value of that sort. You are then you, and you got paid. Now, my clients suffer with guilt when that happens because they don't think they earned it. Yeah. They don't think they earned it. If they don't think they earned it, they spend it like it's water. How do you compensate and create value that I showed up? I'm having fun. X, Y, and Z. And there's so many people poor, so many people suffering, so many people who can't get this. Why am I so special? Now, that unraveling shows up in all of the vices. That unraveling shows up in hiring too many damn people. That unraveling is that you are now on the path of punishing yourself for being great. The business manager keeps you from doing that. It allows your money and your wealth to extend past your fame. Okay. It allows you to create a sense of balance sheet improvement beyond just your vices. I'm the guy who shows up at the strip club and snatches that money out of your hand. We're not doing that.
That's not my vice. Strip clubs
it's
aren't
not
my
our
vice. What would you say is my vice?
Oh, all the way. Travel.
Yeah.
Travel. But it's one of those things that I had to learn about my client is that Dominique is a dynamic woman, multifaceted. But what I learned is that what fuels her, right? Because at these levels, as you increase, your circle gets smaller. People who understand your shit get smaller. Yeah. People who are unmoved, their insecurity does not even get activated when they're in your presence. Very rare, right? When they're not asking for something, when they can add. So my clients have very, very small circles, and sometimes they don't know that. Sometimes they think it's bigger than what it is. So Dominique is a dynamic person in the sense of she has closed her circle on purpose, intentionally. But in addition, I have learned that her travel activates her soul. Yeah. Her travel becomes the launching pad for her to go into the universe and grab vision and come back and teach folks how to be millionaires, to give them freedom. Do you know what type of exploration and fuel that requires? So, unfortunately, in that best year, she also was stricken with illness a few times. Following up with her best year, she lost one of the most magnificent, influential men in her life. She lost her grandfather. Things were unraveling, but that trauma induced in her this need to bring forth a vision despite what everyone said. Mind you, she changed business models in the middle. Woo. She just radically said, crazy. This is new. So let's talk about those radical changes. Yeah. And I want you to tell me your travel in that same period of time.
What you mean travel? Like,
where did you go?
Everywhere.
Inspirato and some other shit that you just shouldn't have done.
It was, I mean, we can be transparent. We went a lot of places. I mean, I think when we looked at the end of the year numbers, it was a lot, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Visits, etc.
On travel. And, it was interesting because, me being a financial planner previously, having someone else that calls you out on your things. But it was interesting, as you say, that's my advice, but it's also my fuel, right? And so, yes, I went a lot of places. I had $50,000 weeks for my ex's birthday, and just went all across the world. But it was what I needed, right? Because I was mourning and I was grieving two things. I was grieving the loss of a partner, the betrayal from a partner, and then also lost my grandfather, right? All within a few months. Right. And so at that time, it was like I had options, right? Yeah. It's like you sit down and stay in your house and be depressed. Or for me, it was exploration, right? And so even when you're thinking about, going back to building wealth, that vice of travel helped me to, I feel like, maintain the wealth because it continuously helped to, as you say, fuel me to come back with more ideas. Because it would have been much easier for me to just close myself off and sit in my room and cry for the rest of the year, which is often what I wanted to do. Right. But it was like, okay, I'm going to get out and I'm going to explore and do all these things. And, I appreciate you too as a business manager. You're like, what is this? What is this? Why did you just wire someone 30,000? Like, oh, I'm going here for like, you're like, what? But then I come back and I'm like, look, and I came up with this idea and I'm going to use it to make $250,000. Like, okay, I get it. Right. And so it's really interesting when you're having those conversations, and that also comes back to like having that value of someone else.
Wait. I want you to not skip over that. Right.
Okay.
We were mourning the loss of a vision with the man that you planned perfectly a life with.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
But I was also at war.
Right.
And so I joke about our first call, right? So my amazing chief of staff, my former chief strategy officer had sought out Justin because they're like, yo, you have all this money, all these things are happening, and you need a business manager. You're at war, you have people attacking you. It's getting crazy. Yeah. And one of the things you always say, Biggie, more money, more problems. But Justin always says like, you are under attack. You start to get under attack, like as you start to make more money. And so, my first call with Justin, I forgot, I was on Zoom. We're all on Zoom. He's in California. Right. I live in Miami. Other people living in Houston, I think in Cancun, I think actually in Mexico. Anyway, we're on this Zoom.
Right.
And like, I'm not a crier, y'all. Like 15, 20 minutes in the call, I am bawling. Right. Okay. This is our introductory call to see if I'm a good fit as a client. And he's like, it's okay, right. And I'm just like, oh my God, and I have all this money, I thought it was gonna be great, and it's not great, and blah, 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 and now he's blah, blah, blah. And I'm just, and after, so funny, I remember I get off the phone, Justin gets off, it's like, okay, we'll send you a proposal after to see how we can work together. And I'm talking to them, my chief of staff and my chief strategy officer, and I'm like, he is not gonna want to work with me, y'all. We're going to find somebody else, like, because I just like show my ass in this in this first call. And, it was really, I felt like the first time for me that I was able to like really talk about all the money I was making, all the money that honestly at the time I was hoarding because I was so scared of being broke again and not trying to manage it on my own. And I was getting overwhelmed because I have this traditional background of financial planning, but it was further than what I could handle because it was really hard to be the financial planner for the family, be the CEO, be the mom. I was breastfeeding. I just had a baby. It was so much at once. And so that's when a lot of times I feel like when people, especially as women, a lot of times we try to be, the jack of all trades, try to do it all. And one of the things I love about my mom, she can do it all, but she tries to do it all to her own deficit. Right. And so she laughs at me because I have to have a business manager. She laughs at me because I have to have a nanny and a housekeeper and all these things because she's done all those things, but I can't do all those things because I am operating at a different level than what she was operating at, right? I am trying to reach bigger goals and she reached great goals. But yes, if I wanted to maintain this space, totally, I can do it all. But where I want to go and where I want to go, and also appreciate having a business manager that understands and sees your vision and also sees a vision that oftentimes you can't see is very valuable. But I also wanted to say like, that's when I came to you, right? So if someone is like, listening to this right now, they're like, okay,
but wait, before we go there, thank you for coming to me, right? I want to talk about like what you just described. And this is what I try to help clients, and this is what I live by, right? There is a cocktail of hormones that is released even when you ejaculate, have an orgasm, right? There's a cocktail of hormones that are released when you cry, right? There's just a cocktail of it, right? So what I find is that if I want to induce a certain action to a human, you have to induce their hormones, right? Sometimes we get so attached to the stimulation that we forget the impact of it. Know your formula. And I told you this. I said, Dominique, what kind of music you listening to in the morning? She said R&B, right? So I said, so let's assume minus and eliminate the characters in the movie. Eliminate the characters in the play because you're attached, ego's attacking, but you're not getting how it's puppeting to release the cocktail, to produce that excellence that creates that, right? Yeah. So we get attacked. We think that it is that spouse. No. Character in the movie. Let's just call it Rock. When I touch Rock, it makes me feel betrayed. It makes me feel vulnerable. It makes me feel weak. It makes me feel insecure, right? And then I touch another rock, the green rock, which is my grandfather, but it's just a rock. I touch this one, it makes me cry, but it also makes me hopeful. And it makes me cry and it makes me remember. It reminds me of my past, but it makes me carry on a torch. I cannot impress in your mind the fuel you need unless I open up traumatically through hormones, your body. So to a certain extent, do we seek out the trauma? To a certain extent, do we allow ourselves to be open, more vulnerable to them? If the characters are true, you listen to R&B music in the morning.
I like
most of the
I like
time.
90s R&B.
The beats per
early
second
2000s.
are
I
what?
don't
Beats
know.
per second is like 60 to 80.
Monica.
Your heart rate is at 100. Look. She's already tired and sleepy.
I am excited.
No. But follow me though. In this, set up the perfect hormonal balance that gave her vision. It was her fuel. She cried enough. She saw that this is what happened, but it will never happen again. She was moved by motivation. It was like, take that in. Remove the character, say thank you. Because now you have the fuel. She operates at a depressive level. So you accept that. So with my clients who understand that, they write their best shit in it. They write their best songs. They write their best scripts. They seek it out even intentionally.
Yeah, that's true.
You pick the worst guy.
I put that Monica on, and I'm just like, listen, getting it all done.
Because it's what? I don't have nobody.
Yeah.
I don't need nobody. That's a hormone reaction. So if I need to get you to here, the universe said, Dominique, you want to make how much? You said earlier, I need $100 million. I need $50 million.
I would like an extra $50 million right now. That's what I'm putting out.
So the question is to them.
In the next 12 months.
The universe takes that question and says, how bad do you want it? And you got to be able to respond and say, I will give up everything. That is the challenge. Every time you shift and elevate to another financial level, another level of wealth. So for example, Elon Musk did pretty well, sold a few shit. Video games, whatever. And then all of a sudden he did what? Created PayPal, sold. What did he do after that? He risked it all. He said, I want to do X. I'm willing to give up everything. Elon Musk slept on people's couch.
Yeah.
His friends put together all the clips of failed rocket ships just to play it for him to say why it's not a good idea. He invested everything in Tesla all over again, became broke all over again. And now, billionaire. He was 100 millionaire. Why do you not think you can't or not supposed to risk it all?
Yeah.
My clients sleep in their cars. My clients got their cars repossessed, gave up everything. But guess what? You're about to hit a ceiling.
Yeah.
You got to give up everything again.
Yeah.
You got to give up everything again. Right? And so move yourself. See why this keeps happening to me. And this is the life lesson that God says I need to learn. And that's why it keeps repeating. You have missed the point. That is your formula that the universe keep giving to you as fuel. You are going to keep pushing this until you create what you must with that gift. Now, once you deliver it to the world, i.e. scripts, movies, pictures, a way of thinking, stories, etc., that's when you unleash. Your trauma is not by accident. How else can I program your mind if I can't move it with experiences? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the Tyler Perrys, again, this is not pleasant. This is not something anyone wishes for. Sometimes it's chosen on them. Sometimes someone's free will imposed it on you. So what happens is, as my clients sacrifice it all and they make millions, they come with that. They come with that trauma. That trauma shows up in those dollar signs. That trauma shows up because guess what? I was beaten down so much, neglected so much, not heard so much that for some reason, even with more money, I feel more invisible.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's why they unravel. The business manager said, stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to find you the right drugs. We're going to make sure you get the right hobbies. You got to find what it is that is going to move. But guess what? I'm going to save you from yourself. I promise.
Yeah.
You have to, because guess what? You are already, because of where you came from and the lack of mindset shift and the length it takes to change it. As soon as you get there, you're already designing to throw it all away, to blow it all up. It's our own defect.
That's crazy. That's true, though. That's true. And it's interesting, too, like how so many people are used to the struggle And even when they start to get the wealth, it's like you said, they kind of throw it all away because they're so used to struggle that they can't even value what they've created. Right. It's interesting. So you work with a lot of people, right? And from, entrepreneurs like myself to tons of celebrities, movie stars, musicians, et cetera, et cetera. I always wonder, like, are entrepreneurs or creatives born or made? And I think it's a mix, but I do think that we all have similar traits. And, one of the most interesting things that I've been learning a lot about over the last year and a half is this narcissistic personality, right? And it was interesting. Yesterday, I was, I've actually been called a narcissist before. Not a fool. They're like, oh, you're like a light narcissist, light, right? And I'm like, well, I couldn't consider myself that. But I was watching a video yesterday. It was really interesting. It's just this guy on TikTok, and he is actually a narcissist. And basically, he was married, and this black guy was married to a white girl. They had, I think, 2 or 3 kids together. Okay. And he said that he broke up with him and his wife had was having disagreements. I actually think they got back together. She walks out the house and she's like, F you ain't nothing but a narcissist. Right? And he's like, what the hell is that? So he Googles it, and then he goes to the doctor and goes to a therapist, clinician, and they're like, no, you are a deep narcissist, whatever the levels are. And he just goes down this rabbit hole trying to understand, what is a narcissist? Why am I doing these things? And they call him a self-aware narcissist, which is rare. Which is very rare. And he realized exactly what he was doing. So he started this TikTok talking about what he does and literally role-playing the conversation that he was having with his wife and his significant others, and saying, I would say this, and then she would say this, and then I would say this, and this is how I made her feel. And he basically saying that if you are with someone that is doing these things to you like I have done to her, leave. Unless they can become self-aware and actively fix it. And it's some things I realized, like traits in my previous relationships. But it's also interesting, we were having conversations about this before, that there are also similar traits in highly successful people. Right. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, one, thank you for sharing that, and even borderline confessing some things, right? One of the things, and I'm gonna go back a little bit, is that if you watch billionaires or multimillionaires and you ask them how or why they're successful, all right, they're gonna say work ethic, right? But I think most of them, even when they say it or don't say it, is that they know people. What does that mean? That doesn't mean you identify them as male or female. You have to know people. You have to know people in the split of a second, right? I need to know you're a narcissist already before I decide to spend my time with you. Now, wait, narcissists are not bad.
Yeah.
We're in an animal kingdom, and everyone has their species. If you're a wolf, you're a wolf. I'm not mad at it.
So the interesting thing is this, though. I also feel like over the last couple of years, a lot of these words.
No, I'm going to answer your question.
Hold on. I think a lot of these words have been thrown around. Right. And so I will say this. The first time, only time, one time I've ever been called a narcissist is from a narcissist.
From who?
We know who. But that was the interesting thing. I had never recalled it before. But then I also, as doing research and how we've talked about that there are narcissistic traits in the most successful people.
Well, one of the things, again, minus the morality of manipulation, right, or gaslighting that they're known for, one of the things that they're really good at are compartmentalizing events. Yeah. So that means I had a traumatic event, but that is not me. They can move past it. They lack empathy, but they lack the ability to connect, which gives them an advantage, right? Where they can be a CEO, lay off 18,000 people, and go and sleep and go in Paris and have a good old time. Yikes. Right?
See, I would be sitting up stressed. I ain't gonna lie.
Wait, you get death threats. After the layoff, they commit suicide, right? You have to be able to compartmentalize and understand this so-called greater good. But again, most of your narcissists and sociopaths are doctors, according to studies, right? Are CEOs, police officers. But if I lost a patient, there's another patient coming in.
You have to be
There's
able
another
to
one coming in.
Yeah, that makes sense. You have to be able to quickly
adapt.
Yeah.
You just went to sleep that night thinking you killed someone. Do we not need them? I need you to bounce the fuck back and go save her. Right?
That's true.
But
so let's say like prostitutes though, right? Because they run it through like 5 to 7 women a night. I mean, 5 to 7 men a night.
OnlyFans.
They don't have to
just record it and create content. Look.
It's like, all right, he's done. Next.
Let's talk about taxes.
We can't fall in love.
The
we making
IRS
money.
wants you to file your taxes and report your income no matter what you do to make it. Most of the time when they get a criminal or a mafia or whoever, it's always lack of paying taxes. That is a criminal law. They said you were supposed to file them.
I'm talking about the emotion point though.
What do you mean?
I'm saying like as far as like prostitution, it's similar to
the
almost a doctor,
ways.
right? It's like the doctor's like, oh my God, this person died, but there's another student. Let me ask you something. There's another patient coming in.
Follow me. Stripper, prostitute. Let's go there, right?
That's totally different.
No, both. In terms of the stereotype.
One's a performer.
No.
Okay. Right.
Let's throw stereotypes. What happens when you go to a strip club and someone sees a stripper? They think she's what? She has what? Daddy issues. That's just a normal
Oh,
thing.
really? Okay.
You know that.
I know. Well,
same thing with prostitutes. Something happened. Most of them either got raped, something where they either got sex trafficked or they got induced, right? What happens is, and I want you to separate from the characters, separate from the people. Understand that we were just looking at rocks and how to develop rocks that have a certain professional outcome. How do I recruit my next stripper? How do I recruit my next prostitute? Is
There's
a
some manipulation
family? No. Hold on. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I'm saying, is there a commonality that produces a certain profession? Aren't there certain people who are doctors who love more? Right? Yeah. What I'm saying is these different things of how you activate your trauma, I'm not going to be a judge of how you do it, but I want you to understand why it's happening or what's the result of why it's happening. So I'm saying the compartmentalization is important, but you also have all variations. You have autism, you have bipolar, you have depression, and you have variations and levels of this. You get anxiety, but one of my clients gets major anxiety. She cries, she gets, overwhelmed and panicked. Right? And she was like, I got to go through therapy. I got to get this done. And I stopped her, not saying don't go to therapy. I said, look, I'm just showing you a pattern. Every time you have this anxiety spill, it's an resurgence of hormones. It heightens your focus. It heightens your ability to see. And right after you finish fucking crying, you produce fucking amazing shit. Stop fighting the cry. We try to change our states when the states need to stay a little bit more.
Yeah, because we're all taught not to cry, not to feel, not to, do all those things. Jessica was saying earlier, she was like, oh, he gave you a compliment and you can't receive it. And I'm like, I'm not in a receiving state right now, unfortunately, because I am still guarded from being in a war for the past year. Right. And so, no, maybe I'm not in that state. And that's something that's like, dang, maybe that's something I need to actually address. When am I going to soften up again? I don't know. I don't think there's a softening up But
process.
There has to, you have to be able to receive, right?
No. There's different level. There's a different level. You have subconsciously moved to a level where you don't need the validations of anyone's praises. Yeah. You become self-sustaining, right? When you become a leader, you have to become more self-sustaining. You have to have self-efficacy. 2 + 2 is 4. I don't care what you fucking say. If you say something different, you stupid.
That part.
You need to have that type of self-efficacy in your soul. I'm 2 + 2. I equal 4. Yeah. You can be magical, 2 + 2, you 5, or whatever you think you is, but you got to have that standard. So when I move from validation, I need this person to support me and I need their advice. Once you're broken enough, once you're let down enough, once you're betrayed enough, then you'll learn how to isolate your fucking gifts. You learn how to be closed off because they have not earned the right to speak in your life. That part. I don't care if you smile at me. I don't care if you got money. Who are you? No. Really, what kind of species are you? Are you a wolf? Are you a cheetah? You a tiger? You a snake? You a mouse? You a gopher? You don't go after shit. You hide. I need to know. That's real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think for you, it's not letting yourself feel bad about that. It's saying, I have arrived. I have armor on. Now you're ready for war. Welcome to the empire.
Let's go.
You know what I mean?
I love that. I ain't not open. Like get all ungrammatical. Ungrammatical. No, that's real. So,
but that's like how we talk.
No, it's true. This is.
We do money. We do the strategies.
Yeah. I mean, this is good. So I want to take it back. I want to take it back to the money part.
Okay.
Right, because most of the stuff that people are dealing with, especially narcissistic, cheetah, gopher, whatever it is, right? It's the money. And it's either messing them up or empowering them, or what are your thoughts? Like, how can we get more people to value what they've earned or built, and to manage it better? What are your thoughts? Like, how can we help more people to do better, especially people that look like us? Right? Or minorities, or whatever disadvantaged background they may have come from. That could be a broken home or whatever. A lot of times they're just naturally used to the struggle. And as they start to, because we hear it all the time, right? These celebrities making all this money and then dying broke, or making all this money and dying and not having a will and not having a trust, and things like that. And it's always so frustrating. I mean, even I'll never forget years ago when Prince died. Like, how did Prince die
without a will?
I
wrote an article about it. Horrible.
I did too.
Yeah, like 70 kids coming out.
And it makes no sense. It's like, so then I think about, and that's why I'm always very fortunate to you and other people I have in my circles that are always making sure that I am good and I have my shit in place. Right? The fact that Prince died without a will means he did not have anyone in his circle that gave two shits about what he was building. And that's a sad thing.
Maybe
come on now. What you mean?
No. Maybe
how you gonna die without a will? And you Prince.
Hold on. Know thyself.
James Brown ain't had one either, did he?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
James Brown set out. He didn't get buried for about 2.5 months because they couldn't figure out his estate.
Oh, bummer. Yeah, I didn't. Okay.
That means you got bad people in your circle.
So when is someone ready, right? How do you know what is something
to have a will?
Hold on. What do you do to manifest, right? This wealth. I'm going to give one word. Discernment.
Okay.
Right? You need to know who people are. You need to know who they are. You need to know people. I know probably a lot about psychology than what an average person does. I know the impacts of different diseases, mental disorders, because I want to find savants even in your depressive states, right? But we have to know who we are. They don't know. So in this discernment process, it was brought up to them. They said, no, it's not important. Bad decision. It was brought up. No, it's not important. I don't need to do it right now. Oh, I'm going to go into business with this person. Oh, I'm going to use that business manager. Broke. Your D is defenseless, right? These folks, they made good decisions creatively. That's a hit. That sounds great. I dreamt about it.
Yeah.
Right? But if I am dreaming in a world where I create music in my sleep, I want a financial advisor and business manager that does the same. That standard is required. You know what I mean? So I think to a certain extent, you have to be good at choosing people. So let's start with your first task. I manage my clients' money, but I also manage their time first. I can look at any financial statement. I can look at any bank statement. I can tell if you have an affair, if you have a vice, if you do cocaine. I know exactly where you are before you say anything. Where you put your money is where your heart is. It is a simple formula. Where's this gap? Why is this here? I can tell your habits. I can guesstimate what every vice is. So now we're here. You make good decisions here and there. You make good decisions in your expertise, but you're not studying people. You're not. So how do we practice? Discern who the fuck is around you right now. What kind of friends you got? You can only make decisions there. Why would you think you're going to make good business decisions? Your best friend is whack. Your best friend steals from you. All of a sudden, you're going to magically know, oh, I know that's a thief. You don't know who's around you right now.
Yeah.
How do you know your mama like you? Why you just have them on speed dial? Why can't anyone just contact you in the blue, out of the blue, at any time in the day and fuck your day up? You don't know how to discern phone calls.
Boundaries.
Decisions. You have to be a discerning decision maker. That's a good agent or not. You have to have a process. You have to have a counsel. So I think that's the number one skill. Warren Buffett said the most important thing that he's ever done is did Dale Carnegie. The speaking, because he had an anxiety, major anxiety that debilitated him when he spoke in front of people. He said, out of all my degrees, this is the one I hang up. This is the one that's most valuable, that has changed my life.
Yeah.
The ability to communicate vision to the CEO of Geico, to the CEO of See's Candy. I'm not managing them. He lets them manage themselves. I impart vision. I can't impart vision unless I can speak, unless I know the right people. He says, I need the right people in place because I'm not going to do it. Ray Dalio, same difference.
That is literally me.
Everyone. How do you discern and choose people? Why do you think everyone in your family is for you? You don't know the difference. So you're blinded by blood. That's all it takes. You'll never go to the next level. Because again, enemies are around. Yeah. In the act of creating an empire, like we were talking about earlier, my favorite word is empired. I want you to feel empired, which is empire with a D at the end. The inspiration, the act of being inspired and empowered to build your own business or financial empire. Not only is it an acronym, it's an acronym as well, but an equation. But I think what's more important is that once you establish an empire, not a business, not a calling, not a career, not a profession, an empire, you automatically set up a challenge from the world. Empire who? Tell me one empire that has not been challenged. Name one that hasn't had a victory or a defeat. Empires are consumed, right? So what makes yours different? Once you do that, we got to raise it to the D power, which is defense. You have to learn the people around you. That's just first step. Then come up with the idea. Because again, if you're so directed in the creative, you can get blinded.
Totally agree. This is good. This is good because these are all the things that I feel like people don't talk about when it comes to money, right? People are just always thinking like, okay, how do I make it? How do I make it? How do I get it? But once you get it, how do you keep it? And then it starts coming back to the mental battles and the people that you're surrounding yourself with and understanding yourself and self-realization and self-actualization and like really knowing who you are, knowing what your vices are. Many people know what their vices are and will still put themselves in the room full of their vices and then not understand why they failed, then not understand why they ended back up in the same place that they started. So I appreciate that you cover those things and talk about those things and understand that when it comes to this financial advising and business management and money, it's not just money.
That's the easy part.
It's deeper than that,
That's
right?
the easy part. We can create the best strategy, the best business plans, the best roadmap, but it's you who derails it. Yeah, very true. It's your decision when you leave the office that derails it. It's you deciding to go with that lady and doing something where you didn't realize what her intentions were. And we're losing hundreds and thousands of dollars in endorsements, right?
Yeah, that's disappointing when you see people make one bad decision that can literally change and ruin their entire lives.
Unfortunately, right? Like he just got really, really angry after Super Bowl, but it's like, it's been so many years. What was it, 13 years or so since that incident when I was under the age of 20, right? But it's unfortunate, but you can see a genius at his craft struggling to get past a certain limit, the validation and the credibility he deserves because of a decision. Right? So again, it's the ability. Sometimes that is the main thing that derails because you have not perfected your skill of choosing people around you.
Yeah, that's so true. All right, so we had this some good, we can talk all day. Right. So as you know, the name of this podcast is True Wealth Conversation. Right. So I want to know, and you have beautiful family, awesome business, beautiful wife, beautiful children, like picture perfect family. But what does true wealth mean to you?
Giving birth to your genius onto the world. Okay. That thing that makes you you, that things that makes you actualize your self-efficacy, that thing that I like it more than anyone. I love it more than anyone. I just like this stupid shit more than anyone. That right there is wealth, because you have done something that no one or very rare people do. Is knowing thyself is the beginning of wisdom. Wisdom is the best wealth generator in this world. Wisdom is about timing. Wisdom is about people. Wisdom is about discernment. Wisdom is about strategy. I want wisdom. Wisdom, I'll always create wealth. Like they say, the billionaires can lose their wealth today, and it'll be a few months before they get it back. You can transfer it to all of the consumers in the world. They will figure out, they will have the wisdom, the innovation, and the creativity to create new products to get all that money back. Again, and it's not anything more than just, I am extending my natural self. I'm being me. Wealth is wisdom. That's how you keep it.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So how can everyone find you? Are you even accepting clients? No. Or, okay. Well, we'll find you.
Depending on, Chris Brown.
Chris Brown.
Right.
Call Justin Brimmer. We'll drop the link so people can find you and scope out all your work. And thank you again for coming on to the podcast. And thank you so much for believing in me and accepting me as a client and constantly pouring into me and all of my visions and all of my projects. And I appreciate that.
Right.
It's very rare to find someone that, is in the financial space that wants to constantly pour into you and really truly help you build your wealth without just trying to sell you a bunch of financial products. And I feel very blessed that I found that in you. God knew. Listen, he's like, look, I know you ain't gonna have nobody just, taking away from you. So I appreciate that in you. And I just want to say thank you again.
Of course, but I want to appreciate you.
Okay.
Right? I think what was beautiful is that you took everything that has happened to you to achieve the statistically impossible. And I think your example is beautiful to all the women, but even men, because I think you have mastered something that most people is so daunting that they couldn't. It's demystified, right? Like I love that. And you demystified wealth and you brought us. I'm just grateful and honored to be here with you.
Thank you. I appreciate and
I feel
receive
like it's
that,
our morning,
Jessica.
our Thursday meetings.
Look, I received that compliment, podcast producer. All right. Well, that has been another episode of True Wealth Conversations. I'm sure we're going to be seeing Justin again on the podcast very soon. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all soon.